The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Lieutenant Sulo, can you explain to the American people what exactly you have found that convinces you 100% that this is a forged document?
Well, we believe after a 21-month investigation, we are firmly of the belief that the long-form birth certificate presented to the public in a PDF form never started out as an original paper document. It's not a copy of an original paper document. It is a document that has been created exclusively inside a computer. It was fabricated manually by human intervention, put together in layers to give the appearance of an official birth certificate. But the fact of the matter is, after putting this PDF file through 1,200 forensic tests, we discovered that every layer on this document was put together by hand in a cut and paste piecemeal method to give the impression to the unsuspecting public that this is in fact a true representation of the president's birth certificate. And after coming to this conclusion, we took that document, we took our findings, and we submitted them for review to a certified forensic document examiner. This is someone who's recognized as an expert in numerous court and trial proceedings. He did his review, and his conclusion after giving me a 40-page document was that the document is 100% fabricated in his opinion.
Right.
Now,
do you think that there's any way that his testimony, you're talking about Reed Hayes, you think that his testimony can be discredited in any way by those who seek to say that all of this is a political witch hunt of some kind?
No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, Reed Hayes resides in Hawaii. Reed Hayes is a Democrat. Reed Hayes voted for Mr. Obama. Reed Hayes has testified in numerous cases for the state of Hawaii. And as fate would have it, Reed Hayes also did work and testified on behalf of Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie is the law firm that represents Mr. Obama in every one of these eligibility challenges that have been going on around the country. So it's going to be very difficult to impeach Mr. Hayes because Perkins Coie relied on him as an expert in courtroom testimony in previous cases. So it's going to pose a very big problem for this administration and for the law firm that they use representing the president in these kinds of matters.
Right. I was really most impressed by that. And his report to you is a sworn affidavit, meaning that if he has lied in any way, that would be subject to charges of perjury. Is that not correct?
That's correct. He gave me a sworn affidavit attesting to the material in it. He did his own independent research, his own independent study. And, we really just put it out there. This is not a political witch hunt. We put it out there. This is our methodology. This is what we did. Do you concur? And in fact, he did. And he was astonished when he looked at that document. And when he looked at that document originally, he was reluctant. Didn't really want to do this. And I asked him just to take a cursory look at it. And after I sent him the PDF file, he calls me back and he goes, there's something wrong with this. And I explained to him that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. And it took him about 2 to 3 weeks, if my memory serves me. And he, forwarded us a 40-page report coming to that conclusion. I mean, that conclusion is devastating.
It is absolutely devastating, especially since, as you said, he has worked for Perkins Coie. So his credentials are impeccable. And you have others that have impeccable credentials, those who did the 1,200 computer forensic analysis, right?
We do. These people have been in computer science since, I believe, 1978. They have done work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And, our goal in this was not to find this document null and void. Actually, we thought we were going to clear this document. We thought the sheriff thought that this was going to be a 48-hour matter, and this thing would be okay. We would announce it to the world that it was fine and just move the country beyond this issue. But unfortunately, about 24 hours into it, it was apparent that we had some problems. These individuals that did the testing for us, one side of that equation was there to prove what we did. The other side, unbeknownst to the one professional who was trying to prove it, actually tried to debunk us or disprove what we said. And his was more important to me because at the end, he had to conclude He could not disprove our work, and he had to come to the conclusion it is, in fact, a manipulated document.
Yeah, this is absolutely shocking. I think every American out there who hears that just cannot believe what they are hearing. Now, I understand, Lieutenant Zullo, that you have recently gone to Capitol Hill. You're just back from a trip to Washington, D.C. You're trying to bring all of this evidence forward to our congressmen and women up there, right?
We're doing that. Sheriff Arpaio thinks that Congress really needs to look into this matter. It is really incumbent upon them, he believes constitutionally, to make an inquiry about this. And right now we are desperately trying to do that. And we do have interest. We have interest from a Texas Republican. His name is Steve Stockman. Congressman Stockman has expressed interest in this, and I am trying to arrange a meeting. I'm not clear yet whether I'm going back to see him or he's going to come out to Phoenix. But he is that interested that he's going to make the time set aside. He wants to be completely briefed by me as to what we have, and he wants to see all that evidence laid out before him.
Absolutely astonishing. And I think, Lieutenant Zullo, lots of Americans want to know, what can they do to help you bring this forward to Congress?
You know, at this time, Joyce, what I'm going to say kind of rattles people. I'm going to ask people to kind of, hang on a little bit. Don't do anything yet. If we're successful in going the way we're going, if we're successful in getting this where we need to be, there'll be ample time to take measures to, for lack of a better word, push your representatives. But we don't want to start to do that right now. Right now, what we have to focus on is getting this before Congress. Once we get it before Congress, then we can do something with a grassroots movement to try to compel them to at least look at this information. That's the critical thing, Doctor. We have to get people to look at this information.
And that's what we're doing with that article in World Tribune. Have you had anybody come forward that has presented any evidence that can credibly contest what you have done, even based on the wide publicity we've now given this story?
No, I've put that challenge out there for the last 21 months. If you can come to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and show me how somebody's scanning in a one-dimensional document with a one-button push on a scanner, scan it into a computer, and show me where it recreates 26 anomalies found in the Obama document, I would declare to the world that we were wrong. It's going to be impossible. You may play with computer programs and get them to replicate some of these things, but you can't do it in its entirety. And that's what's going to be compelling about it. It's impossible. It was done by human intervention. A computer cannot do this on its own.
And now what I think that the folks out there need to understand is that you are not making any claims whatsoever about where the president was born or not born. I mean, we understand there seems to be some kind of document in the archives in Hawaii. The only thing you're saying is that this particular document that the president revealed is a fake.
That's correct. You think about it, the American people should be able to see this kind of document. Once it's offered by the President of the United States, they should be able to see the original. This is not an original of anything. It is not a copy of an original. The only thing that's original is an original forgery. That's all it is.
And a bad forgery, from what you and all your experts have said. Apparently the experts who have looked at it say that they can come to the conclusion that it's a bad forgery pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when this was first released by the White House, on the White House website, it was released, I believe, within 20 minutes. Graphic artists were saying there was something wrong with this. Those are just people out there downloaded this onto their computer, and all of a sudden they started to find things wrong with it. So whoever did this, my theory, and this is only a theory, that this document, this file, once it was uploaded, was actually uploaded in error. I believe this was a working file that they did not flatten, is a word that's used where you kind of condense all these layers together and they can no longer be taken apart. I believe that this was done in error. And in that haste, by 20 minutes after it was launched, I believe the numbers around 130,000 people had downloaded that file to their computers. So there was no taking it back.
Wow.
They had to live with this.
Wow, wow, wow. And now you're right. They're going to have to live with it, and they're going to have to live with the consequences of having presented a fraudulent document to the American people. Well, Lieutenant Zullo, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. But more than that, thank you for your hard work and your courage and your skill and your tenacity in a very, very difficult criminal investigation. God bless you.
Well, thank you, Doctor, and congratulations on your new show.
Thank you very much. Well, you heard it right from the horse's mouth. This is not Dr. Grace saying it. This is an officer of the law, and he is telling the American people the president has presented a forgery to all of us. Guess what? We're being lied to. His credibility continues to sink like a stone. You're listening to Dr. Grace on American Heartland on WTSB.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.